All I heard was 20th at the PGA Championship, and that's good enough for me.
Would that be good enough for you at 9-1, the lowest guy in this market, Ben?
So the thing with a guy like Cam Davis, if I was going to do it, I would do it in a market like this rather than like a matchup or anything where you're not getting, because Cam Davis, I don't think anyone thinks, or at least I don't, there's a small chance that his upside, he could have a real showing. The downside, you're not cashing any market. So why are you trying to get paid like plus 130 or minus 140? Give me 9-1 where I know my chance of success is low, but it's not his ceiling, it's his floor or median outcome that's the problem. But none of that's relevant when you're trying to beat 10 guys.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog US Open 2025. Best bets, gold, silver, bronze. We're going to be talking it through by player, by category, trying to come up with our 3 best bets for the U.S. Open. Joining me to do this, Cam Stewart's still on the DL, so he's out. Ben Rasa is in from Stokastic.com and OddShopper.com. Sir, I've booked you on 3 separate shows this week, and we finally got one done.
You know what? Better late than never. It was my fault, then it was your fault, so we're even. Now I'm here ready to rock, and it couldn't be better timing. I'm actually super. We were just talking before the show. I am super excited to see this course, to see this field take on this course, and hopefully get a couple bets over the line.
It would be nice to get a couple bets over the line. So we got Byron Lindeque from the Fantasy Golf Degenerates on here as well. I'm going to put you on the spot, Byron. Would you like to give away a free membership to your Patreon right now?
Sure, Pat. Just make sure you're not trying to communicate with me through the comments. Reach out to me on X. You decide what the people need to comment, though.
Okay, so we'll do it like your show. That I want you to give me the first round leader down in the description. If someone else has taken said first round leader, then you're off the board. Whoever gets it first ends up. It got to be right. And it's got to be something. If it turns out to be like Justin Hicks' first round leader, then we'll just kind of go down. If no one has that guy, we'll go to the next closest person. The first person to get the correct winner will get a free, month to your Patreon? Is that what we're doing?
3 months to the Patreon. And on Fantasy Golf Degenerates, we do not give away freebies. You have to get the winner. But, it's the best bet show. We'll let the people get like each ways on the giveaway there.
So if someone takes Scotty, then if you put down Scotty after them, you're not going to be a winner. So you got to pick someone else. Smash the like and sub to the channel while you're here. Additionally, leaving a comment will get you into the draw for those Underdog branded Pro V1X boxes. I'll be sending those out next week to the winners. And you can also get into that by rating and reviewing the audio podcast on Apple and Spotify. Always goes a long way to helping the show rise in the charts, and we need that during a major week. It's funny that Ben brought up, Byron, how excited he is for this tournament. Feinberg was the same way. I feel like I'm the same way. Everyone seems the same way. And usually I get fired up for betting, but this is just not really that fun of a betting week looking at the board.
No, it's chalk week. Everyone knows what's in front of them. But at the same time, we all know that it's carnage that lies ahead of us. So anything what seems obvious now doesn't. So maybe that can help change our mind. Let's think in the worst possible way to kind of figure out how this week could unfold. Maybe there's some value in some pessimism versus, optimistic betting.
I had to give you a special shout out as well. We did the PME live show over the weekend, and we met up with the contest winner. Shout out to our friends at CoolBet for sponsoring the Canadian Open giveaway. They went to the Jays game on the first day, and guess who they tailed for their first round leader bet, Byron?
Oh, baby. Congratulations to them for paying off 2 months worth of mortgage. Some great screenshots coming my way. Pat, I was saying to Rasa before you had your audio, it's so nice that I went from the black into the green, or from the darkest dungeon into the green just off of one bet. It's not how you want to do it, but sometimes that's what you got to do. It's not how you drive, it's how you arrive, baby. So congrats to all of the Cristobal Del Solar 600-1, 350-1 backers. What a beauty of a round. Congrats to him, too, on his T36.
Yeah, that's fine. You didn't need him to do anything in round 2. You just needed him to do it. He did. Did he finish better for the tournament than he did in round 1?
No, he finished like T36.
Yeah, but
to par.
Yeah, but he was like, what, minus 11 after the first round?
Minus 9.
Minus 9.
Or minus 10, one of the two, yeah. But no, he went backwards. He shot over par on Sunday.
See, there you go. Ben, were you on De Solaire first round leader?
Not even after the round, I wouldn't have been on him. I don't have those type of abilities. I joined in on the sweat late just for you and you guys. Incredible. I was saying it was actually just a good week overall. So we're all coming in with a little momentum, which is never a bad thing because I certainly needed it revving up to the Open here.
Well, it's funny that Byron mentioned like going from down a bunch of money to up money for the season. That has essentially been the Pat Mayo strategy to golf betting. I'll just lose. Like, oh yeah, I hit a double and now I'm up for the year and I can't be down anymore. That's just seemingly how every year goes for me.
Just how it is sometimes. And it's so fun. I wish it was linear where it's just like, all right, make a little, but it's just not how it works. You're taking, or at least in my experience, you're taking beatings. It feels like it's never going to end. And then 1 or 2 weeks makes the whole year. And this week could be that week.
If you missed it, the Fantasy Golf Degenerates is already out on Mayo Media Network, so go tune into that. As is my betting show with Jeff and Cuss. You got to get Jeff's picks and Cuss 3 picks to both win the tournament and to have horrible tournaments. And Byron, he put Scotty Scheffler on the can't win list.
Oh, why would you do the golfing gods that kind of temptation? I mean, that is just, he could ruin the entire US Open for us.
Well, it's probably going to be.
He's going to win by 8.
Well, he's probably going to win by 8 anyway. What's the difference?
True. Cass needs to say that he's going to win by 8, though. That's where his powers really work the best. But he needs to mean it, obviously.
No, Ben, he's too busy picking Richard Bland to win this tournament.
Yes, right on my short list of. Yeah, I saw him in a random category.
Senior.
I think it was tops. Yeah, there's only it was like him versus, it's like a match race, him and Phil. But yeah, that'll suffice. We don't need any more Scheffler fuel. He's got enough things to dodge here.
Well, let's start with that market for a second because I think it's somewhat interesting because there's actually 3 players in that market, Byron. Phil is the favorite. Let me bring it up here. Shout out to our friends at CoolBet. Hit the description, opt in to the Cabot Ultimate Golf giveaway. You can get on CoolBet Canada if you're in Canada, but not in Ontario. Just hit up the description. You can find all of the info down there. They are the official betting sponsor of the Pat Mayo Experience. Yeah, so it's Phil, it's Bland, and then Byron, Justin Hicks, who is probably the most accurate driver in this field, is 14-1 in a 3-ball against those 2 guys.
Oh, they put all the seniors together?
Well, just
that's interesting.
Well, they're not actually
okay.
together, but just I'm saying
for the tournament.
There's 3. Okay. There's 3 guys in this category, and one of the guys is 14-1. Yeah,
I still think Blandy is the way to go there. I really like his chances amidst those 3, despite the undercurse situation. I think he's shown that he can still hang pretty tough. I don't know if Phil's going to be hitting backwards flop shots out of these church pews. I don't think he's even allowed in church after all the gambling he's done in his life. But I think, Blandy is definitely the guy to be looking at in that pairing. If you're in the mood for Hicks, throw the sticks at Hicks. I think he's going to have to go driver on the majority of the par 4s if he is the most accurate guy out there. But, you choose your poison.
Well, he hasn't played in the U.S. Open, Ben, since 2016, and I believe he is a PGA professional now. I think that's how he got into the PGA Championship this year. But Phil's even money, Bland's minus 125, and Hicks is just randomly 14-1. We talked about the carnage at this course. I don't know, man. In a 3-way market, 14-1 with 50-plus-year-olds doesn't seem that insane. I get that he's the rightful underdog. That just seems really deep to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of bet you conceivably could win with this guy, and he could still miss the cut.
Yes.
Like, it's that level of extreme. It's not like, oh, well, if he strikes lightning in a bottle, he comes in 30th. Like, if he just shoots, 8 over, that might be enough in 2 days. So is he going to get there? Probably not. Do I know who this is? Definitely not. But when you're talking only 3 guys and that type of variance, if you're going to tell me you only have to clear it, 1 out of 7, 1 out of 14-1, that's 7-8%. Like that's there are worse things to do than that.
Justin Hicks once cashed me a first-round leader somewhere, I believe in 2015 or 2016, when he was a guy I just used to play in DFS all the time, Byron. But okay, I guess let me frame the question to you this way, because I think this is an important way to think about the odds. What is more likely? Is it Scotty Scheffler beats the 155 other guys, or is it Justin Hicks beats Richard Bland and Phil Mickelson but it's 6 times the odds.
You know the answer, Pat. That's a great way to frame that question. I think Hicks he's got, this is a lock now. We've established this as a situation. I think just parlay him to win that 3-ball and miss the cut. I think that would be a fun way to get real degenerate as well.
I wonder. I don't think that he's available into the to miss the cut market. Unfortunately,
he's probably like what minus 2,000 to miss the cut and
probably
1,400 to beat those two. Yeah.
All right.
Either way, 14 to 1's good.
Did not think that we would start with the top senior market, but this is the best bet show. We're trying to mine the best bets. If I asked you, give me who do you think is going to win? Are you guys both going to say Scotty Scheffler? Because I'm going to say that too, and I'm not even betting on him.
I think it's not going to be Scotty. I'm getting Pinehurst putting green vibes this week. I think, we've seen Scotty get rattled a couple times on the greens. If there's anything that can save us, it's he forgets how to putt again this week and just finishes 4th.
I thought we just established that Justin Hicks is going to win. So it's not going to be Scheffler.
I wonder what Justin Hicks' first round leader is.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Be listed. That should be illegal.
First round leader, Hicks. Where are you at? Oh, no, I spelled Hawks. That guy probably beats Justin.
700 to 1.
That's easy money. You just hit a guy who was 600 to 1 last week.
All right, let's go. Oh, boy. Or you can play the dentist, Matt Vogt, at 700 to 1 as well.
Well, it's funny because some of these guys, if you're looking at DFS optimizers, I'm not sure how it is over at your guys's at Odd Shopper, Ben, but it's giving a lot of credit to some of these guys at the bottom of the field who they're raking in their stats from like whenever. Like so many of Justin Hicks' stats are from 2016, like the last time he played full time on the PGA Tour. That you'd be like, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily go with this. You might want to manually opt out of some of those guys.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that, and that's something we always try to factor in. How long, is this data set over to get 40 rounds? Is it over 6 months or 6 years? Or in Justin Hicks's situation, 2 decades? Like, that obviously a lot has changed. And fields like this get that because you get wacky guys in the field that really only play. I mean, how many times are we going to see this guy? Once or twice a year, and that's generous.
Yeah, he gets an invitation to Corrales Punta Cana once every 4 years. Like, let's leave the guy alone, all right?
That's fair.
I'm betting Bryson to win. Who are you guys betting to win?
Rahm.
Go ahead, Ben. Same.
You guys are both on Rahm. Why? Is it just because he had the good run at the PGA Championship?
Yes. And he's, if he's returning to form, I think this is a very nice golf course for him. He's he's Bryson light, but heavier. I think he's definitely someone you can take a look at off the tee that's going to be like a total driver of the golf ball. Tons of distance. And when he was in his groove at the PGA, it was delightful to watch him drive that golf ball. So we also saw on the 18th hole, he can push 190 mile per hour ball speed. He just has to lose to Scotty by 6 in the last 3 holes, but he can get up there. So I love what he's up to there. And his short game is very underrated. He's very, very touchy around the greens. And I think, you're going to need that this week. Make a couple putts, chip a couple in like he did in Rome, and then, have a good week. So I'm curious what else Ben thinks Rahm's going to get up to.
Yeah, no, you summed it up. And he's just the type of guy, again, it's not the most scientific, but you just have so many, you roll it by 7 feet, 8 feet. He is someone I really trust to be able to just knock those, and you got to make them. You have to make some of those. And obviously with him, particularly historically, the blow up, he melts. I think he's better at that now. I do. And I think that the course is a good fit. The 12 to 1 is out there, give or take. I'm pretty content with it. He was my first click in the outright market.
For me, because I got on Bryson last week at 11 to 1, and if you do have access to CoolBet, they have honored my 11 to 1 from last week as the special PME boost of the week that you can still get it at 11 to 1 underneath the exclusives tab over there at coolbet.com. But just like looking down the list, it just feels like to me like it's Scotty or this course just sets up so well for Bryson that he ends up winning. Like those, because after that, I guess we could talk about Rory as well. Like Rory's 13 right now. I've seen it as deep as 14. Ben, by the time this tournament tees off, he might be like 18 to 1.
Which is kind of crazy. In the sense of, yes, I know we've seen not good things, but it's still Rory. So that could be a situation. I had this with Xander earlier in the year. If it gets to a number that's so extreme, I'm going to put Rory on the card, not because I think he's going to win, just because I would take him at that number indefinitely. There's no tournament where I think he should be like 20-1. That's just not something I think is accurate. So I don't particularly like Rory this week, but at some point, everybody's a play.
Would you agree with that, Byron? Is there a number that Rory could get to where you're like, screw it, I'm in?
Yeah, I think the Colin Morikawa principle there, when he got into the 30s, everyone would bet him all the time. I think Rory's a 20s kind of guy. If I see a 2 in front of Rory McIlroy's name at a gouge fest like this, he's the only other guy that can carry all the crap that's out there, along with Bryson, who, by the way, I would bet at 11-1 if I had Coolbet here in central Iowa. But at 12-1, I think Rahm is the better option there compared to what, I'm looking at for Bryson.
What if I could get you a 3 in front of Morikawa's name? Because I'm trying to find someone to piece together the middle. Maybe I'm done. I have 4 outright bets in. They're the same 4 that I gave out in my newsletter last night. You can find that entire column up on X as well by just sharing around my pinned tweet right now on X or Twitter, formerly known, whatever it is. Just share it around and get you in the draw for those golf balls as well. They're really nice. I've been using them. My handicap's been going down. So good flight and good spin on those balls. But I have Bryson at 11, Keegan at 70 with the 8 places. So if he comes top 8, I get 1/5 those odds. I have Straka at 80-1. He's down to 30-1 right now, which is insane to think about. Yeah. I'm not going to bet the Straka 30-1. I would not. Yesterday when it was 50 and 55, I'd say, listen, if you miss the 80, like whatever, just get in on that. I think he's a good play. 30 is a bridge too far. What you do is actually go to Coolbet, because I haven't bet for the Open Championship as well. He's still 100-1 to win the Open Championship, which I think it's just a better bet than 30-1 to win the U.S. Open. And then I bet Ryan Gerard, Ben, at 200-1 with 8 places.
Yeah, the fugitive guy. That guy is just everywhere. It is the type of field. It feels like, and you could say this about a lot of tournaments. This is how I kind of look at it. We just talked about some of the big names. If you survive those big names, I think it opens up to extreme people. Like, I really wouldn't be shocked if you have not some rando, but like those type of players get in the mix. So I think you can extend the card. Obviously, the win equity up top is extreme. Like Scheffler, Bryson, Rahm. To me, these are serious hitters, but maybe that guy has never helped me one single time. But maybe I'll join forces because I never play him, and that's why he never helps me. He can really roll it.
I never play him here either, but I was looking back, Byron, at the 2001 USAM and the names that popped up of doing the best that year. I mean, Thorbjornsen not in the field, so he doesn't get to qualify, but Bridgman was the best along with Gerard and then Joe Highsmith.
Yeah. There's another market that I really fancy Gerard, and he's got some really good metrics early in the week. I think that's also not a terrible way to kind of go about it.
Is it the low last name starts with G market? Because I could get in on that.
I mean, no, it's not, but it should be.
He's a heavy underdog to Ben Griffin right now.
You got Griot, so forget it.
Well, I have a short list of players. Well, can you tell me your guys' full cards, like what you've bet on so far for an outright win? Like with Keegan, I mean, Straka, I just like the number last week. With Keegan and Gerard, it's mainly about those 8 places. Like I could bet these guys to come top 10 for significantly less odds, and I would have to spend more money for them just to come inside the top 8, and I get the out of the win if something weird happens anyway.
No, I'm with you on Sepp, Pat. I think there's a couple 50s here in Central Iowa as well, if you're in the mood for that. Love the accuracy this week. I think we can chat about if you had gun to your head, where you would go with accuracy or distance in your models this week. I'm thinking I like Sepp a lot, given how often he's going to be hitting. He's the second best iron player in the field, and I like him a lot at 50. And then Russell Henley, 65s. There's 65s out there. Similar situation. I think we've seen him do some stuff at API, couple top 5s in Masters and Majors. So I think he's in the mood. And then I can't bet like Kenny bets Brooks every year, every major. I'm going to be doing Justin Rose at 125. So I think, if he can find himself in the middle of fairways, he's one of the best major putters to walk the planet, for the last 2 decades. So he's definitely in the mix, and we'll be chatting about him later too.
Benjamin?
I bet Hatton at 55. Why? Ooh. That remains to be determined, but he is on the card. I don't know. He's someone I almost have been waiting to. I looked at him in a couple spots, didn't really get there. I know the PGA wasn't good. Masters certainly was. Maybe I'm judging the course wrong. I don't think this is a terrible fit. I mean, we know it's such a tough fit for anybody. But he's another one. I feel like if he just doesn't self-destruct, I think this could be a decent spot for that type of player. And I looked at that range, it was pretty open. The guy that I have not added, I'm sure I'm going to splash on fee now, probably Patrick Reed in like the 100, 120 to 1 range. I'm not really worried about that. Did either of you guys entertain Hovland?
Looked at it. I still don't like the odds on Hovland is the problem. Like for the, what is he at now? 50? Did he get that low yet?
I see 60,
yes,
but yeah.
60 is pretty good. I think I would just rather wait out Morikawa if no one's going to bet on him and grab a 33-35 on Wednesday night. Like that's sort of where my mind is going. Because Byron, you had that discussion, distance versus accuracy. I'm team distance this week, but I don't think that precludes any sort of heavy accuracy player from doing well. The way that I spoke about it with Jeff on the Monday show is if you're just going to load up on bombers, then just bet Bryson. Because is Minwoo really going to beat Bryson? Probably not. At least if you go down an accuracy hole and you're right about that, then I feel like it's more open to you down the board. And of all of the guys near the top, I mean, Scheffler, very accurate player, which might make no sense in this sort of context. But of the very best players, Morikawa is the most accurate. Like we saw Lowry up there. Lowry would be another one, because I want to bet on Shane Lowry to win a major right now.
I feel like you can put Colin and Shane in the same bucket. They are just both wet pieces of toilet paper right now. They anytime they get into like any contention, it just shreds apart. So I had a Colin top 20 in all 4 majors bet. I gave it to Christmas gifts for my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and they're looking at me with resentment right now. So I blame Colin after a total disaster at Quail. So he's just not, ever since he came at the media, he's just been pathetic. He hasn't had a finish better than a 10th after saying that he owes us nothing. So apparently he owes himself no top 10s either.
I was having some problems sleeping. When anyone has little kids, that's probably going to be the case. They'll come up, wake you up in the middle of the night for no real apparent reason. So you're waking up, you're going back to sleep, you're waking up, going back to sleep. It's not the best sleep. I put my Apple Watch on and tried to track my sleep tracker. It was not going well. A lot of that changed once I got a Helix mattress, however, because I was able to customize it to both what I want, what my wife wants, and now we are sleeping throughout the night. The little noises that would just normally wake you up when you're not sleeping well, no longer the case for me. No more back pain either, because I'm actually sleeping on a mattress that is perfect for what my back demands, which is a lot because I have a terrible back. The one that I had before my Helix mattress, I spent a lot of money on it. It was bad after like 2 years. It had like the divot in it from where I sleep. It was unflippable. It was a horrendous waste of money. Not only is the Helix mattress I have now way better, it was also significantly cheaper. And it just showed up to my door in a box. Very easy to get onto my bed frame and just start using right away. So you can have all your problems solved with a Helix mattress as well. So you can go to helixsleep.com/mayo for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/mayo for 20% off site-wide. Be sure to enter my name at the checkout so they know that I sent you. helixsleep.com/mayo. I've been telling you about Skims for a while. The men's brand is amazing. It's all I'm wearing now. I bought enough pairs of Skims. They sent me some at the beginning. That's how they get me. They sent me 2 or 3 pairs, and I was like, these Skims are amazing. I'm going to wear these all the time. But I only had 3 pairs. So then I had to go use my own promo code at Skims and go get more pairs. So I'm covered for at least 2 weeks because that is how comfortable they are. It's not only protecting the junk. The junk is in a top-notch position in my skins. They're not sagging around. I'm getting old. I'm past 40. As soon as I turn 40, I think my balls drop like 3 inches. It's no good. But I'm playing a ton of golf right now. They keep me comfortable on the course. And I'm a connoisseur of tight pants. Shocking to the viewers, I know. But you don't want to get bunched up. You wear boxers, it gets clumpy. Looks like you have a fupa on the go. That ain't no way to live. You want some skims to make sure that everything is a sleek look, both personally and how it fits, and aesthetically for when people see it. You don't want that bunching up. It just looks weird. It's uncomfortable. It's nothing that you ever have to deal with again if you have Skims. So shop Skims Men's at skims.com and let them know that I sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select the Pat Mayo Experience in the drop-down menu that follows. Skims.com/Pat Mayo. The time has come to get some new golf clubs, and that means one thing. Heading over to the local PXG store for a fitting. They make the best golf clubs, period. My handicap has remained about the same this season. I've had the transition from my old irons over to PXG irons. I can tell you the main difference for me is that I'm starting to hit the ball like a player of my handicap is. I'm not just relying on short game and putting anymore. My old clubs had those thick backs, and my 7-iron would go anywhere from 160 to 210. There was no control over the club. With my new PXG irons, I can flight the ball the way I want it. If I want to hit a draw or a fade, I can do that with these clubs. There's so much customization that goes into it. That's why the fitting was so important for me. And the fastest way to improve your performance on the golf course is a PXG fitting. PXG fitters are highly trained, highly experienced, incredibly experienced even, and have a deep understanding of how to optimize your clubs to get the most out of your swing. That's what they did for me. My game is about to go over the ledge. My goal this year was to break 75 and to shoot at least 1 under on a 9 somewhere over the course of the season. I've been flirting with it already. Frankly, it's my short game and putting that have been letting me down. Now that I hit my iron so well, I'm in spots that I'm just not normally used to being. Hitting 4 irons and 5 irons and skying them up, getting them to land softly is just a whole new world to me, and it's all thanks to my PXG clubs. Plus, PXG fittings are educational and fun. So schedule your fitting today, and for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/Pat Mayo. That's pxg.com/Pat Mayo to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/Pat Mayo. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Well, let's try to figure out some bets down the board, because the top 40 market to make the cut market, that's a great part about Underdog this week, Ben. You use code Mayo, you get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. You get a free pick, and they have the extensive list of names to make the cut and to miss the cut, and it's available in basically every state if you have the Pick'em or Champions game. So that's a route that I'm going to be taking. I actually rigged up a little one earlier, but I want to start throwing out some names to you that I like to make the cut. Obviously, I'm not going to put all of these guys on a US Open to make the cut, but I feel like we can workshop one right now and try to come up with something. Griot, Gerard, Bridgman, Matt McCarty, Glover, Colley, Nico Echeverria are 7 guys that I think can make the cut.
That's a beautiful. That is, again, I know it's fun to talk about these big names, but to me, the prices are probably pretty damn efficient. But you start to get down into these guys, like if you have a line on someone, you can find wild inefficiencies. You just said a couple guys that are on my list as well, starting with Griot. I'm not talking about Lucas Glover. I can't get him right. I've accepted that. Just played him at the Masters. We saw how that went. Yeah, Bridgman. He's another one. These guys, you're talking like, plus 150, plus 200 for a top 40 for these type of guys. You mentioned make the cut. So you can get plus money for them just having a decent week and finding the weekend.
A couple guys I like to miss the cut, Byron. Victor Perez, Wyndham Clark. Who else do I have on here? Laurie Cantor, who hasn't made a cut in 3 months.
Love them. Love all 3 of those, particularly the second 2. I think you're probably getting better numbers on those 2 guys as well. I've also heard rumors that Brooksy's kind of wincing around the golf course down in Virginia and has not been playing well at all. So I'm in the mood for some Brooks love and some Justin Thomas as well, Pat. If you're looking to add like a big old ticket, lotto ticket there on the miscut side of things, I think those are 2 guys I'll be looking at as well.
Well, here's just a very quick one that I rigged up in. Victor Perez to miss the cut, Jacob Bridgman to make the cut, Wyndham Clark to miss the cut, Emiliano Griot to make the cut. Pays 16-1.
Again, yeah, and it's like, obviously all of them, those are serious flips, but you don't have anything in there. We're not talking Justin Hicks, and you know, these are real players on both sides. Like those guys are not immune to missing cut. No one is here, and I'm definitely gonna have some of my like Rasmus is a guy that I'm entertaining for some of those markets. Like I don't think that
Wait, which
him
way?
breaking through
Which way?
in a good way.
Oh,
In a
okay.
good way. Yeah. I could have just left it independent and then I would have had it all my bases covered, no matter what he did. But yeah, I guess if I have to choose, I am buying on Rasmus this week. Man, Cam Smith is in that range. I'm not doing anything with that. He just caught my eye. Ooh.
So Cam Smith is as low as 160 to 1 right now, Byron. And I was looking at his to miss the cut numbers. I'm like, yeah, he probably will miss the cut, but you worry that at a tournament that gets so hard like this, that him, Denny, who else do we throw into that mix? Just guys that will putt their way to make the cut by 2 strokes.
Yes, there's that possibility, but I think with the accuracy argument this week, if you are inaccurate, it's not like you can just take a 7-iron and hack it to the front of the green. You are taking a lob wedge and hitting it short of a ditch. You're taking lob wedge and hitting it sideways. Like inaccuracy is going to be ultra penal this week. And I think, you know, the guys that are very inaccurate, like Cam Smith, anything to the left of this golf course is just going to be welcoming him with open arms. So I think, you know, he's going to really have to have like a top end chipping and putting week in order to just make the cut. And he's my boy. You know, I've loved that guy for all my life. He's part of my whole pass situation there potentially, but I think he's just not gonna get that from me this week.
Any other names you want to chuck out here? Because Nico Echeverria really kind of stood out to me, where he can get electric with his irons. He's fairly accurate, and dude can make some putts. The problem is when it goes bad, Ben, everything goes bad for him.
Yeah, there is some of that, but honestly, in a week like this, I'm more apt to take those type of guys because it's just like at some point it becomes okay, if they don't have it, they're going to shoot 12 under or 14 under or 60 or over, I should say, obviously. What's the difference? You know, it's like I need guys that have at least the ability, and that's where a short game, you mentioned like Cam Smith and those guys. I'm willing to embrace some of them because you roll in a couple 30 footers, that might just change enough. You can take your damage, you avoid doubles, you make a couple putts, you're probably going to post stay. I'm not saying this is a winning formula, but it is a formula to possibly find the weekend for players of this caliber.
If you were going to bet Scheffler, Byron, how would you bet him?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question, Pat. We're going to be going with Scotty Scheffler for a first round leader top 10. Scotty Scheffler, in all of his major first rounds, has yet to lose a stroke. He has not lost a stroke in round 1 of a major championship. There's only 2 times that he's lost more than 1, at the Masters in 2020, at the US Open in 2019. We've got a 20th at the PGA Championship, which was almost a top 10 by 1 shot. We've got obviously his first round leader at the Masters. He finished second after that round, 11th at the Open Championship, multiple top 10s. And he's gaining like 3.5 strokes per round in round 1 of majors. It's like 50% of the PGA Tour winners gain an average of 3 strokes per round. And he's averaging half a stroke over that. So it's just at plus 150, when you're getting his top 5 market for the tournament at minus 150, I think it's a way to kind of take advantage of that market for sure.
So Scheffler top 10 after round 1. I believe he was top 10 after round 1 as an amateur in 2016 here.
Do not have that in the database. Probably right though.
Yeah, I just remember seeing him up there. He was 1 under after the first round. I think that would have been good enough to get him inside the top 10. You were talking about the skills though. Like if Rahm can chip in and what we're looking for, because there is a distance versus accuracy debate this week. I saw you were having one with Kirshner on Twitter, Byron, but I'm still leaning mega distance over mega accuracy. I do think if you're looking at the back end of the field, that maybe that's where you can sneak a few high accuracy, great putters through. But if I'm going to bet someone to win, I think they need to mash it.
True. I've also been like Google Earthing, and I watched your wonderful research show, Pat. The graphics and the videos on there, really, I had to like pause that video multiple times just to kind of see what you're presenting me there with the overload of information. Fantastic stuff. I looked, and it's like 290 yards to the beginning of all the crap and like 330, 320 to carry all of it. So there's like a landing area of 40 yards that unless you are Bryson or Rory, or whoever, you know, Nicholas Niebarber or whatever, you got to have ultra distance or accuracy, in my opinion, because everyone's going to be hitting 3 wood short of all the disaster. Because if you are in these bunkers in the rough, I've listened to so many interviews this week, and everyone has said you have to hit fairways this week. So I think I'm just kind of listening to those dudes. I'm listening to my gut, not listening to Brian Kirshner. That may be a profitable route to go this week. Also, love you, Brian.
Is this an official beef you have with Brian now?
No, everyone's saying we've got a beef. I've been on his show. He's been on mine. We like each other a lot. We DM. It's all good. I don't have any beefs on Twitter unless your name's Dan Rappaport or Justin Rose or Matt Fitzpatrick.
I like that Justin Rose is a beef for you, but you love Justin Rose.
Well, he blocked me because I had a beef with Fitz. So I think that's the problem. He was a great teammate, obviously. Ryder Cupper.
Ben, who are your 3 top professional athlete Twitter beefs that you currently have going online?
Wow, what a list. Yeah, no, I don't think I have any of those because I don't do anything. But honestly, I don't know if Lucas Glover has a Twitter, but he'd be on the list just because of all the money he's cost me. But yeah, I respect that. You know what? The Englishmen got to stick together. That's how EVR. He's another one. We didn't talk about EVR. He's going to be in one of my medal bets, so we can talk about him then. But he's another name that I've gone back and forth this week, whether I was buying or maybe selling.
Have you landed on it yet?
Well, by extension, I think I'm selling because I'm going to buy on our, when me and Byron getting the same. Bez is just, I'm going to take a shot with Bez.
Why?
I don't care. He can't hit the fairway anyway. He's used to this. He doesn't care about that.
You have to bet on like Chantal Kreviatzig or whoever that guy was that I was talking about beforehand. I think he's South African. Jacques. He's the French South African.
Yeah, he's in this market. I got his name.
He'll give you the Jacques block and cost you your bet.
Wouldn't be the first time, but okay.
What happened?
I thought he was from Iceland.
He said like his name looks like he's from Iceland, but I believe he's South African.
Okay.
And he also goes by James in some databases, which, that just puts you instantly on my shit list as well. If I have to change your name manually because you've Matt Fitzpatrick, Matthew Fitzpatrick, now he's Matt Fitzpatrick. You know how many times I have to change crap for him? So, multiple reasons to hate that dude. But yeah, James and Jacques, same person.
What if he just starts going by Jimmy?
I think he's probably got a better shot,
Well, did you have to do that with Oberg too, because of like the weird O above his A in his name to get the O sound?
No, only if you're siphoning from the PGA Tour website. They think they're adequate with that kind of stuff. Every other database is normal.
All right, back to skills for a second. Byron, you played college golf. You're a good player. When you get the rough this big around the green, obviously, if you keep it 30 yards in front of the hole, like you get a false front, and all of a sudden that you have to elevate the ball quickly, but you can put a ton of spin on it. Your Justin Thomases of the world, the Cam Smith, the guys that we know that are excellent around the green. Patrick Reed can get that ball to stop where they want it to. If you're not in that short grass and you're in the rough, does that mitigate the advantage of the great around the green players?
I think the around the green players are still pretty good out of that stuff, because you're going to have to hit your spots. We've seen Cam just work magic out of that long grass. We've also seen Victor Hovland just hit it 2 feet in front of him. There's guys that are bad remain bad over 4 days. So I think there's still a definite avenue for, good around the green players, good short game putters to kind of leverage their skills. But I was kind of mentioning this in the Discord that if I'm going with a distance guy, I'm looking at how he's going to do out of the rough from 150 to 200 and how good his around the green play is, because the distance guys, I think, are going to have less control into the greens because they're going to be coming from fairway bunkers or rough or things like that. So they're going to be chipping a lot more, whereas the accurate dudes are going to be putting a lot more, but probably from further away. So you want to look at like 3-putt avoidance for those guys. They're probably going to hit more greens because they're going to have control from the fairway. So I know Rasa likes to stack stats. I'm kind of like, laddering stats to a specific skill set for guys I'm playing this week.
Yeah. Do you have a preference in what skills that you want to attack, Ben?
I mean, I think a course like this, because it's not something we see that often, it is pretty wide, but I kind of put it in 2 buckets. First, you guys mentioned Like, you better be able to do something off the tee. You know, if you can't do that, then there's the secondary bucket of like, you better be a wizard around the green, because you might just have to bail yourself out over and over. Obviously, in a perfect world, you start to do this where you're like, I do this all the time. I'm like, all right, good driver, hit your irons well, and then you can scramble and you also make it. Well, there's like 2 golfers that fit that criteria. That just sounds like an amazing player. As you get down the list, you have to be willing to sacrifice something. I think the harder the course is, this is just kind of my general rule, the more I would be willing to take a guy that does one thing at a world-class level than a guy that just does everything at like an average level. I don't think that translates well. You need to do something incredibly well to survive a course like this.
Shout out to Drew Matthews for this at Red to Cheek on X. He sent me the Spectrum stats, Byron, for lag putting from 2016 and lag putting what we're going to see just leading up to this week. So to take a look at the 2016 field, Kiradesh was actually number 1. Denny was 3. You had Sergio, who came in 6th. Day, who came in 7th. They were both top 10. Overall on the leaderboard, as was Kevin Na, who was 11th that week. Shane Lowry was 16th. Dustin wasn't that great at it, but if you went back and watched anything from that week, Byron, it just seemed like DJ hit the ball 330 down the middle every single time and just 2-putted from wherever.
Yeah, because he's that guy, Ben. You know, he's Dustin Johnson, fits all 4 of the boxes.
Yep.
He's accurate, he's long, he's got great short game, can hit his irons. That's how you win. And I think that's where the distance guys can come in. If you find a distance guy that randomly finds accuracy, you're good to go. But when you mentioned all those 3-putt Spectrum guys there, Pat, those are all short hitters off the tee. Accurate drivers, right? Like
Sergio,
kind of validating that point.
Sergio's pretty long.
He's pretty long, but a very good driver of the golf ball. You know, kind of like in the DJ realm when it comes to accuracy too.
So here are the guys this week, going into this week on the season, the best lag putters. And this is going to take them from 30 to 75 feet. And it's broken. I have it broken down in front of me. You should hit up Drew if you want some of this more information. Webb Simpson, Vic Perez, Sam Barristow, Adam Scott, Thirsty Lawrence, Alex Noren, Seb Straka, Guido, Scheffler, Pavon, Xander, Rory, Ben Griffin, Denny, Poston, Siwoo, and your boy Bez.
I don't know about that list. I hope that list doesn't
know,
trend.
it's a filthy
like
list.
A lot of those guys. At least Bez made it.
Worst in the field. And I think that this is probably because of a bias from Liv, where they just don't have the counting stats and we're only looking at majors. Neiman, Rahm, and Bryson are both in the bottom 5. Hatton's there too. So I'm guessing that this is a major Liv deficiency in these numbers, because a lot of Liv guys are just populated near the bottom. But Nikolai Højgaard's down there, Justin Rose, Nico Echeverria. That's not great news. Tiger Woods, he's not in the field, so that's probably a bonus. Bridgman, oh God. Sergio, Brooks, Kurt Kitayama, Shane Lowry, Ryan Fox, which is someone who's just, we haven't spoken about him on like 5 shows so far. Obviously, he won last week, 2 of his past 4 tournaments, Ben. Do you like Fox this week?
Not really from a betting standpoint. He's someone that maybe in certain DFS criterias, but just because, you know, the price seems pretty good, but his odds obviously are more reflective of his play. He's been fantastic. So I get it, but no, not really.
How about you, Byron?
I like him in the first round leader market, although I haven't taken him. So we might have to just add him to the list. But I think that's typically how he goes. And when you've had a hot run like this, sometimes you can continue that early into the tournament. And then you're like kind of standing in the middle of the 8th fairway on Friday and you're like, holy shit, I'm like T5 of the US Open. And then your brain just fries. So I think that could potentially happen to old Foxy.
So he's someone that I identified actually in my majors preview column as sort of like a lesser guy. It was more for like underdog drafts of like a guy who could play himself into tournaments, has had some good major results, consistent major results. I think he was top 20 at all the majors last year. But he's someone who just goes on hot runs. Even if you go back throughout the course of his career, you pull up his like OWGR page. It's like miscut for 6 months, and then 5 top 10s in a row, and then he goes away again. So if you can catch him once again, maybe he's in one to look at for that like top 10 first round leader market like you were talking about.
Boom. Love that for him.
First round leaders in general, the tee times have just come out as we're recording this show, although there doesn't seem to be that big of a discrepancy in the weather waves, as I can see right now. Obviously, the Wednesday post and newsletter is going to cover that. I'll cover that with Tambo live at 9 a.m. Eastern time on Mayo Media Network live on Wednesday. But I have 3 in so far. I bet Gerard, Bridgman, and Mathieu Pavon, Ben, all above 100 to 1, all with 5 places. And maybe I can try to sneak someone out. I really like Pavon this week. I don't want to go all in on him because that sounds like a terrible idea. But he's played in 4 U.S. Opens. He has a top 5 and a top 25 along with missed cuts. And he rates out weirdly well and stuff that gets overlooked when you're digging into the week. Like, he's really good from 100 yards and in. So even if he has to like chunk out and lay up, that he's someone who can still get it up and down from that territory.
Yeah, I mean, did you bet him top? Aren't there 2 Pavons? You could bet him top Pavon.
Yeah, well, I think that's Pavin. That's Andrea Pavin from Italy, who, great story. Like, I don't know. I know you follow DP, Ben. I don't know where you're at with the DP World Tour, Byron, but Andrea Pavin, like, lost the ability to drive the ball for 3 years. And I think he had to go back down to the Challenge Tour, and now he's made his way back into the U.S. Open.
Now he's back. I like that.
So
I'm rooting for that
French
guy.
Dunlap.
Yeah, French Dunlap.
Yeah.
They
Also, shout out the Pavans. My dad thought that Mathieu Pavon was Corey Pavin at the PGA Championship. And I thought he had himself a riveting moment there on the couch, but not to be.
Nick Dunlap, to miss the cut on Underdog right now, you get 0.63 times your money. So what's that, minus 140? Something like that? That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly cannot drive the ball, unfortunately. So
now I do have a small rebuttal on that, because I think what we've seen with him is you'll be driving it fine-ish and then have like one that he hits into some guy's pool. I don't know how many holes there are of that caliber here. You know, like if you're missing it big, you're still going to be in similar kind of stuff. I know there are some ravines and highways and things like that, but it's interesting. And that's a lot of juice, Bat, for a guy that's, you know, probably going to miss the cut still.
Yeah, who's probably going to miss the cut. When we were getting plus money on him at the Masters, and I made it my bet of the week, that was much better. I would agree with that. But what's the last time this guy's making cuts? He made the cut at Memorial, the top 50 in ties cut. He came 44th. Congratulations. Before that, the last time he made a cut was at the Genesis in February.
Okay, fire it up. Yeah.
Although he's no longer losing 8.5 strokes off the tee, Ben. He's only losing 4 and 2 now every week.
that's progress. But
Working his way back. Two-time PGA Tour winner in the past 18 months can no longer drive the ball. It's a strange scenario. I want you to think about 2 things. 1, what makes your father special? Number 2, what makes all fathers the same? The answer to number 2 is that they are impossible to buy Father's Day gifts for. Who knows what your dad needs? But I can tell you one thing that the vast majority, almost all of fathers enjoy: steak. Barbecuing. It's perfect. When it comes to Father's Day, some things never change. A recent survey shows 75% of Americans agree there's no better way to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. So, shop omahasteaks.com and give your dad the legendary Heartland quality he deserves. Plus, my listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code MAYO at checkout. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, dessert, and easy-to-prepare comfort food. This Father's Day, give Dad the world's best steak experience with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for a guaranteed perfect gifts that deliver legendary quality. For an extra $35 off, use promo code MAYO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code MAYO at checkout. See site for details. Are you feeling stuck in your daily wellness routine? You're not alone on that. Our friends at Cornbread Hemp hear you. Yes, they're listening and they hear you. Their organic CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, poor sleep, or just needing a moment to unwind, because Lord knows we should be taking more moments to unwind. CBD might be just what you need to level up your daily routine. Cornbread Hemp uses only the best of the hemp plant, the flower, for the purest, most potent CBD. No fillers, no junk, just full spectrum goodness. And right now, Pat Mayo Experience listeners can save 30% off your first order. Just head to cornbread.com/PatMayo and use code PatMayo at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/PatMayo and use code PatMayo. The Travelers Championship, the Northeast one and only PGA Tour signature event. Can it surpass the excitement of last year's thrilling finale when Scottie Scheffler broke away from the loaded leaderboard with 3 straight birdies in the back 9 during the final round, leading to a dramatic one-hole playoff with Tom Kim winning him his 6th PGA Tour victory of the year? Will Scottie repeat as champion? Come watch as the world's best PGA Tour players try to dethrone him. All of them competing all 4 days at TPC River Highlands. The action begins June 19th and runs through June 22nd. For tickets and information, visit TravelersChampionship.com to see the greats, including Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Oberg, and the rest. The Travelers Championship. There is only one. Let's go into some of these markets. We can talk about top 20, 30, and 40 as a part of the best bets if that's where it lands. But is there any particular nationality market that you want to look at? It sounded, Ben, like you really want to dig into low South African.
So, yeah, I mean, I actually went low. They have low South African, and then they just have low African, which is just adding Scott Vincent, who shouldn't be a factor.
Zimbabwe, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Zimbabwe. So that upped Bez's price to plus 200. And I don't know about this, whoever this other dude is, Jacques Cousteau or whatever, but Scott Vincent's out. Thirsty Lawrence, I don't like. EVR is EVR, but if you're going to give me plus 200 for Bez as top African, that is on the list for me.
As a South African, Byron, there's 4 guys in this market. Could you see it going 0 for 4 to make the cut?
Yes. Thirsty, I drafted so much of him in baseball when he was leading the top 10 on the DP World Tour. I think he'd play all the signature events, completely melted down in the final race to Dubai there. And he has been pathetic this year. So we don't even know if Jacques Kruiswijk is even a real person. And then EVR and Bezzy are just not playing the greatest golf right now. So if I were to pick, I would probably go against Bez because his major track record has also completely regressed the last couple of years. He used to be a guy you could count on the top 40 pretty much anywhere. No longer the case.
I had a significant chunk of change on him to miss the cut at the PGA Championship. And of course, he was like top 10 after 2 rounds. And then he absolutely went the other way and came basically last of everyone who made the cut.
God damn.
It's been a bad year.
That's the worst. That's golf. That's variance.
Yeah. But that has been a bad year for him overall.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
And me. Because we're tied together, our fates.
Well, I mean, the moment that you bet him to win the Amex that time and he lost to Nick Dunlap, yet received the winner's paycheck, feel like it was that's when you should have broken up with him.
Yeah, I should have broken up with myself. It was that was the moment. That did not. That was, but you know what? I actually think of all the majors, I would rather have Bez on a torture chamber type course than other type of layouts. I think this is the best of bad situations if you're going to back him.
This is a very interesting market, Ben. It's low Asian this week, and there are a lot of the top Asian players just are playing very poorly at the moment. I mean, Hideki continuously makes cuts in U.S. Opens, one of the better U.S. Open players, but he seems broken, and he's the favorite right now at plus 240. Siwoo's 4-1, Sungjae's 4-1. Sungjae has been smoke and mirrors for the entire season. Ben An just hasn't been Ben An. He's plus 550. Tom Kim hasn't been good. He's plus 550. And then you're into Junichiro Kuzma. Takumi Kanaya is 12-1 in this market. And then there's 2 guys I've legit never heard of. But Siwoo seems like a really good bet here.
It's one of those, it's almost like a process of elimination. You brought up not just like negative, serious red flags relative to how good they are. With almost every other guy. Sungjae has been, you mentioned, I cannot get him right. Decky's Decky, but you're paying for that. And then I think Benny On's kind of interesting, but nothing crazy, not on Tom Kim. I don't know. Kanaya, I don't know. I tried to buy on him several times this year. It hasn't worked. So Siwoo kind of just by default, it's one of those markets. I'm not sure you're asking for like an eighth. You know, he gives you a 20th. If Decky doesn't play well, that could be enough.
That's where I was leaning with this too, Byron. That as long as, unless one of these guys runs a super hot putter, which will not be Siwoo. I guess the argument against Siwoo, and I talked about this with Keith on the research show, is he has no chill in his game. He's just going to go for it every single time. That could lead to quadruple bogeys.
Right, but that's only going to be in the very small instances that when he's in the rough. Guys are ultra accurate off the tee. It's gonna the dominoes are gonna have to fall the opposite way for him for that to happen. Likely could, but Hideki, like you mentioned there, Pat, just not himself anymore.
No, it's a lot of like chip in. He and Sungjae have to be the chip in leaders of the year because they're gaining 6 strokes every week around the greens to make the cut.
Yeah, I don't think, like if you're hacking it out of this rough, you're still going to be looking at like the 75 to 100 yard range, 50 to 100 yard range. Around the green, out of the rough I think this rough is going to be, people are going to be really surprised when people are not even remotely close to green after coming out of it. So they're going to be chipping in for pars, maybe. I like Siwoo a lot, actually.
Australia Asian market. So you get the South Africa or the not South Africa, the New Zealanders in here as well. And Ryan Fox is now the lowest odds in this category, Byron, plus 375. Day and Minwoo are both 4-1. Scott's plus 475. Cam Smith is 5-1. Leishman is 650. And then it's Cam Davis. Is there anyone that sticks out to you in that market?
Cam Davis. I know this sounds really weird, but if you think about how good Cam Davis does on these like positional courses where you got to kind of club down, this is just a bigger version of that. And I've bet Cam Davis first round leader, by the way, people. So I think he's definitely going to be someone I'm looking at to kind of all of these dudes could easily miss the cut. So I think if you're just looking for made cut potential, Cam Davis gets off to a couple hot starts and then might finish last, but still be the only one to have made the weekend. So I think, you're getting embrace the carnage, bet the guy that's lowest on the odds board, highest on the odds board, longest.
Cam Davis, so far this season, he has the top 20 at the PGA Championship. He was 13th at the RBC Heritage. He was 5th at Pebble Beach, and it's basically just a bunch of miscuts splattered in there as well.
All I heard was 20th at the PGA Championship, and that's good enough for me.
Would that be good enough for you at 9-1, the lowest guy in this market, Ben?
So the thing with a guy like Cam Davis, if I was going to do it, I would do it in a market like this rather than like a matchup or anything where you're not because Cam Davis, I don't think anyone thinks, or at least I don't, there's a small chance that his upside, he could have a real showing. The downside, you're not cashing any market. So why are you trying to get paid like plus 130 or minus 140? Give me 9-1 where I know my chance of success is low, but it's not his ceiling. It's his floor or median outcome that's the problem. But none of that's relevant when you're trying to beat 10 guys. So, yeah, I don't expect him to play well, but ironically, that's not super relevant when you're backing someone to beat 8-10 guys in a market like this.
Well, Day is the other one in that market, Ben, that I just don't know what to do with. He hasn't played since the PGA Championship.
Yeah, I just hope that if and when he withdraws, he does it before my lineups lock. Like with Day, that's the only sweat I have with him is, are my teams dead or is he going to actually play?
Now, you are allowed to not use him. You realize this.
Yeah, but then like he that is true. Maybe I should just not use him. I never thought of that actually. Interesting.
Like, where do you gauge his potential? Because he was top 10 here a decade ago. We know that he still plays these long, hard courses pretty well. He was top 10 at the Masters. He was top 10 at Bay Hill. He was 3rd at the American Express. So he has good showings this year. I just have no idea where his health is at.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I'm worried about Jason Day having a vertigo flare up as he walks over the Pennsylvania Turnpike over there. That's a definite possibility. You got to do that twice this round. So yeah, the health is not there. It's definitely a Mayday situation.
Low Canada is interesting. I was doing some research into Corey Connors because you had made mention like the distance accuracy guys. I found 4 guys in the field over the past 36 rounds, Byron, and this has actually nothing to do with Corey Connors because I just want to see if Corey Connors popped in it, and he didn't. 4 guys who rate out inside the top 40 in distance and accuracy in this field. Do we want to play some Family Feud style here? Figure out who those 4 guys are?
Who is Taylor Pendrith?
No, none of the Canadians are in here.
Ah.
Wrong.
What was the question?
Sorry, Steve.
They both rate inside the top 40 of distance and accuracy.
Tommy Fleetwood.
No. One is
You're
very
gonna go
obvious.
Was it Wacko Neiman?
It's Scotty Scheffler.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah. Easy guy to forget.
Cantlay.
Cantlay is not. Actually, sorry, it's top 50 in both, not top 40 in both. And,
he's still
Hatton
not.
technically qualifies, but Lord knows from where his stats are. Keegan Bradley, JJ Spawn, Scotty Scheffler, and Ryan Gerard are the 4.
Ryan Gerard, is he just on every list no matter what stat you were on?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why I bet him.
Okay.
I was like, he just, every bit of research, like he's top 10 in proximity from outside 200 yards. He's 8th around the green. He plays hard courses really well. He has experience at USGA setups at this course. None of it makes any sense to me because I'm like you, Ben. I never bet on this guy. I never use him in DFS, whatever it might be, but he just keeps popping up. Bud Colley is the other one who just pops up in everything this week.
well, that's good.
I have no idea
Bud Colley.
how to leverage that, but back to the Canadians. Corey Connors made his first cut at a U.S. Open last year, Byron.
What?
Yeah,
Wow. So he's got like more Masters top 10s than he has US Open made cuts.
He does.
That's truly incredible.
and Pinehurst has to be the weirdest of all of the U.S. Opens, too. It does seem... I know Bryson won at Wingfoot, a classical design in Pinehurst, which is kind of weird. So maybe that there is a direct correlation, and distance did end up being the key to those two. Connors came 9th at Pinehurst, but Pinehurst just seems like a weird comp venue to any of these places.
Yeah, I feel like Pinehurst is a closer comp to like the Open Championship than any US Open venue. You know, like I think that's really weird. I did not expect that because you'd think his accuracy and long irons like perfectly suit, you know, like that like floor type path to making cuts and things like that. But apparently maybe he just chipped and putted his way out of the tournament.
Well,
he is putting and chipping better lately though.
Funny you say that because when you take a look, we don't have the strokes gain stats from like each of the U.S. Opens from the past that he's been playing since 2017 at this point. Didn't get into 2018 or 2019. It was played at each of the past 5 years. Like he has some horrendous, like 2 strokes lost per round on the green, 3 strokes lost chipping around the greens.
Yeah.
Better last year. He came 9th last year at Pinehurst, so that's good. It's a positive step.
Yes, but man, that track record is bad. But I think he is a different US Open player now. I think you can't kind of take that into account.
Like he should. I think that you should honestly. We've always said that, Ben, that Fleetwood. It always seems like a U.S. Open would be a good spot for him in order to do this. Connors, it's going to be a PGA Championship, although he has the like good track record at the Masters. He's never actually seriously contended at the Masters. Like he backdoors top 10s where he's just kind of 4 strokes off the lead the entire time. And maybe you just stick around long enough that everyone falls back to you. That just doesn't seem to be the case for him. It feels like he could win a U.S. Open just if he has a Lucas Glover-esque good putting week. He doesn't need to gain 10 strokes. But you give Corey Connors 4 strokes putting randomly in a tournament, I feel like he's super live.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to that. You know, his game can translate. This is I will say, just looking at this market, maybe the most competitive though. Like you have all 4 guys: Connors, Pendrith, Nick Taylor, and Mackenzie Hughes, and the odds reflect that. It's pretty wide open. You can really make a case for any of the 4.
I think that if we're going to lean that, I know, Byron, that you're going accuracy over distance. I'm still going to go distance over accuracy. And maybe Connors is the perfect combination of both those. But it does feel like if you're going to randomly take a bet at low Canadian, it would be Pendrith.
Yeah. The reason I said who's Taylor Pendrith is he's slightly above accuracy and he's obviously much longer than Corey Connors. So he's got all the juice to get out of that stuff. He's playing some solid golf. I think he's definitely the inform option at better numbers.
The inform option is Nick Taylor with a 4th and a 13th in his lead inform. Although he has only made 1 cut in a U.S. Open since 2009.
Yeah. He's major track record for a guy that is as clutch as he is in like playoffs. Majors are not his jam.
No, not at all. The Open. Where's he? I don't even know. Let's see. When was the last time he played in the Open? Probably last year. Yeah. A lot of miscuts in these majors for Nick Taylor, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, these courses I don't think particularly suit him.
Let's see. Continental Europe. It's Rom plus 180, Ludwig plus 350, Straka plus 475, Victor plus 650, and then you're into like Danes and Dietrich and all those guys. Is there anyone from, and there's no Maximilian Kiefer to bet on for you, Ben. So I don't even know where you would go in this market.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's the point, really? Who this other, I don't even know his first name. The other Kiefer appeared on tour. I don't even know who that guy is.
Johnny.
Yeah, real good. We need Max Kiefer, who I have played in U.S. Opens before to great failure, but he's not here. This is just a brutally tough market. There's a lot of names here. I don't have anything, I'll be honest.
All right. Well, you talked about the competitiveness of the Canadian category, Byron. The low Dane category, even more competitive. Oleson's plus 210, Neergaard Peterson's plus 230, Rasmus Højgaard is plus 280, and Nicholas Norgaard is plus 320.
Yeah. And good luck having a couple beers and trying to click one of those names that you think you're clicking. It's not. Like there's 5 names that they're sharing, then there's only 4 guys. So it's truly a mystery. I defer to Rasa in this market.
Just pick a Højgaard and you've got your bases covered. I think that's 3 of the 4. But yeah, I don't know. I've been backing Oleson, and I mentioned, again, this is a tough one because I like a lot of these guys. I'm going to be over on Rasmus in terms of how I equate him against the average person equating him. But I think there are probably better ways for me to structure it because I think there's a chance, unlike some of the categories where we've talked about, like a made cut could do it. I think this is a category where you could get a guy and you get it right. He comes in 16th and you still lose. In what a brutal way that could be in a market like this.
All right, one more before we get to the best bets, and it's the low French market. This is actually going to make my best bets. Mathieu Pavon, plus 150 to beat Victor Perez and Frederic Lacroix, Byron.
Yeah, I love it. Pavon, Torrey Pines compy, love him. Obviously making a 12 at the Canadian Open isn't the greatest thing to do before you
zero instances of water at Oakmont. It's not going to happen to him this week.
Okay, there we go. So, leave the water alone, the Frenchman will float. So I think that's a great, and just fading the other 2 is just a natural last person standing type situation.
Yeah, Perez 5 appearances in the U.S. Open, Ben, 5 miscuts.
Yeah, and you said a third person that who?
It's some guy who plays on the DP World Tour. I think he's won Bear. I think he's won Bear off a bunch of money.
Oh, there we go. I'll have to follow up on whoever that was.
Let's get to the best bets: the gold, the silver, and the bronze. We've talked through a lot of these markets, so I'm going to give you mine off the hopper here. Maybe I'll actually take Pavon out of this because I'm going with Victor Perez, miscut, Wyndham Clark, miscut, Griot, made cut, Bridgman, made cut. And that pays plus 1610. So over 16 to 1 on your money on the make the cut, miscut parlay as my gold pick of the week, Byron.
I know. I was about to try and throw John Rahm out there 12 to 1, but now if yours hits, then you're just one-upping me again. I think you did this to me the last time, but I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to go with Rahm as my bronze for a 12 to 1 there. Just take a single bullet on the man. I think it's a nice number. Probably gets me close to the best takedown on the show so far. Patty, is it 12 or 14 for the best bet hit?
You were on the show. Maybe you weren't. Now I can't remember. But Cam gave out Justin Rose first round leader 70 to 1 at the Masters as his gold pick.
Oh boy. So you got to bet Christian Del Solar to win the U.S. Open now to top it.
He's going to have to run in from the turnpike to kind of just get on the course. But okay. I'll go with Scotty Scheffler. First round leader, top 10, plus 150. Give it to me, baby. A nice way to get some exposure to one of the best golfer.
Is that your gold or your silver?
Gold pick.
Scotty, T10, first round leader, +1. That's actually a really good number. Good work on that one.
Thank you.
Ben?
I do some good stuff every now and then.
I'm keeping it simple. Byron alluded to it. I had these written down. I'm just going to pick Rom. I think Rom's going to win. He's 12-1. It's my favorite outright. I'll keep it. We talked about it already. I think that Rom sets up well, and I like the number.
Do I dare go with Hicks 14-1? And of note, like Phil probably going to miss the cut, and Richard Bland has been picked by Cuss to win this tournament. So chances are he comes dead last.
Oh, wow.
Well, do you want to hear Cuss 3 picks?
Yes,
Please.
That's critical information.
His bronze is Richard Bland. Neiman is his second pick, and he picked Tony Finau to win.
That's not good for me.
Your eyebrows dropped heavily there, Ben.
Yeah, that hurts. I got enough problems trying to weave this. I don't need that on top of everything else.
So I am going to take Matt McCarty, whose name I probably mentioned right off the hop. He is 5-1 as low lefty. Really enjoy him for DraftKings this week as well, Byron.
Yeah. And I mean, he showed some major pedigree at the Masters too. You know, I like to bet guys top fives this week, Pat, compared to Opens and Masters and stuff, top twos. Top fives at the US Open has a good track record. So, you know, he's been playing some good golf in majors, good lefty, playing great golf entering, coming from Canada too. So.
And silver pick for you, Ben.
Silver pick for me is going to be very simple. Tommy Fleetwood, top 20. It includes ties at +105. You know, I know we can't. The outright market continues to be elusive, but we all, I think, acknowledge that Fleetwood sets up for these type of courses. He's playing fine. Give me slightly plus money on a top 20. I think he's going to return a nice performance here. It's one of the easier ways to get exposure to him.
Byron?
Justin Thomas to miss the cut, +175. He's perennially bad off the tee in majors in general. He's perennially bad. I mean, he shot 80 at Murfield in round one. So, you know, if that's any kind of indication of what he can do around this golf course, I'd expect him to have one blow-up round maybe in the first 2 days. Love the guy. Just don't think the drive is going to do him any good. And he's been really bad for a two-time major winner. He's only had like three top fives, and two of them have been the 2 PGA wins. So he's doing a lot of heavy lifting with the wins there, and not necessarily the greatest in majors. +175 to miss the cut.
My bronze pick, Justin Hicks, 14-1, low senior.
Yeah.
Let's have it. Ben, I just received an email from you. What are you doing over there? Ben Rasa, how to bet golf outrights, an email. The plus EV way. Did you really write this?
I wrote it. Didn't you see me over here when I was, it seemed like I wasn't paying attention. I'm a multitasker, man. So, you know, times are tough. Time is very valuable for me. Do me a solid, open that and scroll. We'll get that SEO rocking. And while you do that, maybe in there, you'll see Bez as the top African at +200. I talked about this. No disrespect to Zimbabwe, but I don't see that happening. And then I think most of the South African players have serious red flags, including Bez. I'll admit that, but I think that Bez has something that most of them don't, which is still a world-class part of his game. And that could carry me through here.
And you're going to use Rom as your bronze pick, Byron?
No, I'm going to take what Cam gave us and just throw it back in his face. Justin Rose, first round leader, 125-1.
In your face, Cam, 125-1. But he made it was his gold pick, Byron.
That's over the top.
Yeah, that's over the top.
It was a winner. It was
Justin
a winner.
Rose
We all won. It was the last time I won
we did.
anything betting on golf.
Yeah, I'm happy with that decision. I don't care the color of the medal. Just give me a Tommy Fleetwood type situation. I want to stand on the podium.
You know,
okay.
According to Ben Rasa, Byron, outright prices vary wildly. A golfer might be 25-1 on one book and plus 1,800 on another. Gap adds up. The hard hitting
Called price shopping, odd shopping, which is why I work for Odd Shopper. Remember that, people.
.com. Is there some sort of promo code that you have?
Yeah, you can come on over. And again, we have, you were talking earlier, I almost said this, of like ways to bet Scheffler. Something I've been doing a lot this year. I've been going to our portfolio EV tool, just taking random props, WNBA and MLB, and I've been pairing them with golfers, pumping those numbers up. Those plus EV things can do that trick. The code, it's in honor of you, Pat. We'll go with Mayo. How about that? You can come over, you go to oddchopper.com, code Mayo, and we'll give you a couple weeks to test it out. You got Underdog over there as well. Just a really cool site. Byron, you're involved with the tail side. And you can read about whatever I just sent in an email, which may or may not be a virus.
Byron, Fantasy Golf Degenerates. You'll be live on Mayo Media Network on Tuesday evening, going through the entire model and taking questions. What time is that at?
7 Eastern, Mayo Media Network, back 9 bets, baby. Fantasy Golf Degenerates is out already. Dropped that yesterday afternoon. And you know what? I'm going to do what Ben did. Mayo for 50% off your first month at my Model Maniac Patreon. All my tools, all my models, all the round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4 showdown stuff. I'm your guy 7 days a week. So appreciate you having me on the show, Pat.
And remember to throw that up on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates audio feed too, right?
Correct, sir. Thank you for that reminder.
Yes, do that reminder.
I will.
You can listen to the replay.
Live on the air there.
I know. You can listen to the replay on Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning as well. You can follow me at the PME. I'll have one more live show at 9 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, Cut Sweat Live, and my full complete cheat sheet newsletter coming out on Wednesday evening. Smash the like while you're here, and I will see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.